What is going on, guys? It is Byron Diallo back again with another video. And in today's video, I'm going to talk about how I use Etsy to help me fight inflation. All right. Now, if you don't have an Etsy, or if you do have an Etsy, whichever one it is, check out my 7-step process. This is the process that I use to build all of my stores. And that's about it. Let's get into the video. All right, so how I use Etsy to help me fight inflation. All right, now before we get into how Etsy helps me fight inflation, we need to understand what is inflation. All right, and I want to make this as simple as I can, because there's a lot of people that will try to make the economy and how everything works very complicated, and it's really not as complicated, in my opinion, as people try to make it. All right, so now, number one, what is inflation? So I did a Google search and I had this definition that I found. All right, so this was the second definition that deals with the economics of the definition of inflation. All right, it's a general increase in prices and fall in the purchasing value of money. And the way that they used it in a sentence is says policies aimed at controlling inflation. All right. Now, inflation is something that is pretty much baked into our economy. We aim to do, I think, around 2 to 3% of inflation per year. And now what's funny about the definitions that they use, it says policies aimed at controlling inflation, but they don't, when you do a research on the definition of inflation, you really don't find the definition that tells you that government spending causes inflation. But that is, in my opinion, the main cause of inflation. All right. So now let's go into it. What's the causes of inflation? And so this is what I found here. This nice infographic from Investopedia. All right. So number one is demand pull inflation. All right. Demand pull. When demand for goods and services exceeds production capacity. All right, this can cause inflation. Think about in 2020, right? We have production going on and we have our demand. All right. 2020, I think March of 2020, the world shuts down. Boom. The production goes down, but we still have demand. That causes inflation. All right. Number two, cost push. When production costs increase prices, all right? And then number three, built in, that is when prices rise, wages rise too, in order to maintain living costs, all right? So now what we need to look at is what is hyperinflation, because regular inflation and hyperinflation are two different things, all right? So what is hyperinflation? Hyperinflation is a term to describe rapid, excessive, and out of control general price increases in an economy. While inflation is a measure of the pace of rising prices for goods and services, hyperinflation is rapidly rising inflation. All right. And so in my opinion, we are actually experiencing hyperinflation right now. Now, I believe they just put out that inflation is, 9.1% or something around that. If you believe that, good luck to you. That's all I can say. All right. Because if we just look at gas prices, food prices, housing prices, things that actually matter, you will see that it's well more than 9%. All right. Now, what causes hyperinflation? The two primary causes of hyperinflation are, number one, increase in money supply not supported by economic growth, which increases inflation. All right. Increase in the money supply not supported by economic growth. Remember that. And number two, which is demand pull inflation, in which the demand outstrips supply. So now let's go back up to our example to where we talk about demand pull inflation. As I said before, in 2020, we had production going on and we had our regular demand. All right. We shut everything down pretty much. Production went down, but we still had demand for products and services. All right. Now, you had certain sectors to where these things wasn't as desired, such as the travel industry and things to that nature. Of course, nobody's traveling as everybody is in the house, but there's other things that people still need. All right. So demand pull is what happened in 2020. But then come back and look at this. Number one, an increase in the money supply not supported by economic growth. All right. So we had the production to go down, but we still had demand. That's one way where hyperinflation could be caused. And then we threw money at everybody into the system. It really threw everything out of whack. And that's how we have these higher prices. All right. So while this was going on in 2020, people that understand how the system works already knew where this was going. All right. So April 15, 2020, I made this post. I just don't see how we will avoid hyperinflation with the Fed recklessly creating all this money. Time will tell. Well, time is telling now. All right. Time is telling now. I actually had somebody comment under this post pretty much like, hey, we need help. I know that this could be a possibility, but we need help right now. It's like, all right, that's fine, but make sure that you are okay with the consequences that come later on from what we are doing. All right. A lot of people that understands how this system works, they use inflation to their advantage. All right. And that's by having assets. Houses, stocks, crypto, businesses, all of these things rise with inflation, all right? Because you have more money in the system chasing these assets. So when you hold the assets, your net worth just goes up, all right? So now, how to fight inflation. Now, if you search online, the way that they tell you to fight inflation, which it works, for a small period of time, but pretty much to cut unnecessary spending in your life. You should be doing it anyway. Well, at least I think you should. I cut a lot of unnecessary spending years ago. A lot of having fun. And I'm not saying don't have fun, but budget it out, But when you search online, they'll just pretty much tell you to contract. And by contracting, just cut there, just cut here, cut there, cut everywhere. Just keep cutting, My question is, once you cut everything that you could possibly cut, then what's next? All right, so let's say that you cut and this helps you, but then prices keep rising. Then what? That's why, in my opinion, the best way is to increase your income. All right. There's multiple ways you can increase your income, getting a second job. But to me, the best way is having a business. And this is how I use Etsy to help me fight inflation. All right. Because through a business, you can create just another stream of income. And the difference is, by you creating a business that's different than just getting a job, is that you don't have an income roof over your head. You don't have an income limit lingering over your head. This is why I say Etsy is a great way to help you fight inflation. All right. And with Etsy, because I see a lot of people, they teach to do Shopify. And Shopify is a great platform, but you're going to need way more skills to be able to be successful on Shopify. But with Etsy, You don't need as many skills as you would to run your own website. All right. Because if you're going to run your own website, you got to be able to bring your own customers to that website to purchase. Because first, you got to have things that people even want to purchase from you. And not only that, you have to have the means, the funds to put into advertising. You know, it's a lot of things that you have to do, a lot of skills that you need to acquire to be able to run your own website. Now, the thing is with the business, it can be much more riskier. All right. That's why I say Etsy is a great way, because all you have to do is put your product up, 20 cents to list it. If it doesn't sell, you're out of just 20 cents. You know, it's a very low barrier to really enter it and get into it. All right. Now, let me show you an example of what I've done to do this. All right. So this was a store that I had. Because as I say, I do multiple things online. I sell on Etsy. We have multiple stores. I sell on Amazon. I sell on eBay. We have our own websites. We do a lot of different things. All right. So this was one of the stores that I had that was just sitting around that I wasn't doing anything with pretty much. I think I had like 4 items listed on it. And so as you can see, from January to March 2022, we only had one order because this store was just pretty much dead. It was just sitting around. All right. Then I decided, okay, I want to create another stream of revenue. All right. I want to create another stream of income. So in March, me and my team got together and we pretty much just planned out this store all throughout March. And then in April, we started executing. All right. So April, we was when we first started launching our products around, I think, the end of the first week, around the second week. And this is our results from April to June of 2022. All right, so I went from pretty much zero to $13,305 in sales. All right. Now, of course, this is not all profit. All right. This is not all profit here, because this is the revenue. Revenue is what you have brought in all together. But after all costs, this is still a nice income. Now, think about it. Just a couple of months ago, I didn't have this revenue stream. All right. And we created products. We made a plan, created products for this store. And boom, now we have another stream of income. All right. And just in case you didn't believe that this was the actual store, I went ahead and showed you from January to June that this is actually the store that we did this with. It was pretty much dead in the water the first 3 months. Last 3 months, we did over 13,000 in sales. All right. So now if you want to learn how to do these type of things, come and join the Profit Accelerators community. All right. This is where I teach you how to do these type of things. All right. Now, this is not just another course. Even though I host all of my courses there, this is not just another course. All right. This is a community. Because one of the issues that I had when I was selling courses was that people would watch the videos, but then they would have questions about something that they saw in the video. So with this community, when you watch a video, you'll have immediate access to me. All right. And everybody else that's in the community as well. You know, so I'm really looking to build this up. And that is how you can fight inflation with Etsy. So whether you join the community or not, make sure you do something. Don't just sit around and do nothing. Don't wait until this gets so bad to where you are forced to do something. Do something now while it's not as bad right now. All right. And that'll be all for this video. Don't ever forget, true wealth is your time of freedom. I'm out.